Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the Dum Yinzers. This is episode 363.
Woohoo.
363. How you doing, Mike?
Oh, I'm doing great, baby. It's training camp report day.
Yes, training camp report day. This is the happiest day of the summer, right?
It is. It means baseball season's over and football season has officially started.
Boy, is baseball season over. Man. Uh let's just get it out of the way. Pirates, they lose again 5-1 to the Padres. They drop to 44 and 57. Pirates still 11 and a half games out. Big stacks. Mike, big stacks. 0 for 4.
That's what I like to see.
This is your big money guy. How many times do I have to say this? How bad is he that your big money guy against a team like the Padres? You conjure up, what was it, 11 hits yesterday, only 3 hits last night. So whether you hit 11 hits or whether you hit 3 hits, this guy is not hitting the baseball. This is your big money. This is your Ohtani.
And he can't do anything.
He's a schlub, this guy.
He's the worst. And you know what though? I still say, that contract was the right move at the time because he was playing really, really good.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, okay, if we don't sign him, he's gone. We're going to trade him. You lock him up, and he does this. So even more, ownership did the right thing, and this is what happens.
The guy looks like he has no interest.
They don't spend money as is. Yeah, it's frustrating.
He's like a mannequin. He has no facial expressions. He has no. I'm just so frustrated with this Brian Reynolds.
Yeah,
I thought that then he has like one day out of the blue where he gets 2 hits. He has like a home run and a walk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and you're like, there he is, but
you're like, all right, boy, we got it. He's going to do something, and he does.
He takes a 10-day sabbatical. 0 for 4. There you have it. There's your big gun, everybody. Brian Reynolds. Everybody was gaga over. Everybody was so excited when he got his big contract. It doesn't matter if you're good at sports anymore. Get your favorite guy a big contract. That's all that matters.
He's a dog. He got that dog in him. Get that bag, baby. That's all anyone cares about. And now that he has it, people are like, okay. It is what it is.
He's a real bum, Mike.
He needs to be. Imagine if
he's no threat at all. You don't look at him as a threat if you're playing against the Pirates.
No,
he's supposed to be your threat.
Yeah, Sidney Crosby, Malkin, Letang, they're held to a high standard because they have the big contract. This guy has the big contract, held to 0 standard. TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, big contracts held to a high standard. This guy gets off scot-free. I love it.
Could you imagine if you were in any other city? Let's just say, I don't even want to say New York. Let's say Atlanta. Let's say you're in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he'd be
Fulton County
right now.
You go to the games, and your big player, your guy that got the big contract on the team, goes 0 for 4 night after night after night after night. That shit don't fly. Why does it fly here?
Because it's baseball. It's literally what it is, man. We don't take this team seriously, so we don't hold the stars accountable. Even when we had those good runs when Kutch was winning MVPs and being in the playoff or in the MVP hunt, he would have bad stretches, and it was hand washed. It's Kutch. It happens to him. He's a slow starter. God forbid Crosby go 4 or 5 games without a goal, but we'll have like 4 or 5 points in that time, and he's oh my God, what's wrong with him? He needs to step it up. He's making all this money. The baseball team, man, there's no standard. There's no accountability.
Mike, they had 3 hits last night. One of them was Austin Hedges. The other one was Andy Rodriguez, who didn't start. He came in later in the game, pinch hit, and finished the game at catcher. So your bench catcher, Austin Hedges, and Henry Davis were the only 3 guys to get a hit. Austin Hedges got a hit, Mike, and your big dog goes 0 for 4. You could say, it was a bad game. No, it's not a bad game. You're 102 2 games into the season, 103
Yeah,
games into the season.
he's having a bad season, and it's not getting any better
He's having a
whatsoever.
bad life. That guy's a bum. He's a bum. I wish they would get rid of him. Nobody's ever going to take him now.
No,
we're stuck. We're stuck with this guy.
We're stuck with him. Like, in the contract, for what we paid him, it was like undervalue on the open market what he could have made. And this is what happens. And
maybe he knew he was a bum, and he was like,
I'm
not
going
to
go. Too. He like a Brian Hayes cash in early when they offered him that $70 million contract. He's like, hell yeah, I'm going to sign that.
Maybe he's smart. He said, you know what? I'm not going to go to the Bronx and get booed out of town. I'm going to stay right here where expectations are low. Take the money and just do what I want.
Yeah.
That's what people do when they come to Pittsburgh.
I don't blame him.
There's not it's not a winning culture. It's not you don't walk into this locker room thinking, all right, it's time to go with a pennant. You pretty much walk into this locker room just saying, hey, I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
You'd think it would be play good baseball, but apparently that's
it's not the case.
The running theme in Pittsburgh is just go and do whatever.
Yeah. But like Pete's saying, I might go learn the rules to cricket. And I think it might be more enjoyable.
You know what? Cricket's really hard. I was watching something the other day, like they really whip that ball in there, and it's like real and awkward,
Yeah, and you got to swing it awkward. And, I don't understand the game, but it's hugely popular.
Yeah. Dick Mountain manages to throw 4 1/3 innings, gives up 7 hits in those 4 innings, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts.
Our top 2 pitchers this series have been rocked.
And I shudder to even call this guy one of our top picks. Mike, he's so bad. It's just
loss rise, he is, and that's the sad part.
He just lobs the ball over the plate at 70 miles an hour. I mean, some of these guys have to be licking their chops. Other guys, hey, the thing at the end of the day is these guys are professionals. And you're used to hitting a 90 some mile per hour fastball. But if you adjust like a lot of teams are doing now, you hit the shit out of them. Again, 4 innings, 7 hits he gave up.
Mm-hmm. Good thing he's only signed for a 1-year deal, so we don't have to deal with him till the end of the season.
I didn't think he was going to outlive this season. I thought he was
surprised he made it.
One cool thing at the game last night, you remember Young Ho Gong was on the team last year?
Yeah.
Well, he was there visiting, and he actually caught a foul ball. You know how some people go their whole life. Most people their whole lives go a whole lifetime without catching a ball. This dude is the ex-Pirate from last season. He was there and he caught a foul ball. How odd? How odd is that?
That was cool. I liked it. That was my second favorite. That was my second favorite part of the game. My favorite part of the game was the brawl. Or not the brawl. Let's plunk a guy because I gave up a home run.
Yeah. There wasn't even no warning or anything. They just tossed his ass.
Well, yeah, because he threw at him intentionally because, oh my God, they did a handshake after a home run.
Yeah, that's baseball.
Get out of here. I think if a pitcher intentionally throws at you, you should be able to throw your bat at them.
Yeah. I missed the good old fights. I like to see a good fight out there.
Baseball fights are weak and soft. Hey, bud.
I wouldn't agree with you but the fact that you have the 90-year-old managers, the little fat guys out there getting rolled,
Like,
if it was real, these guys.
Oh God, who was it? Pedro Martinez threw down that old guy from the Yankees.
Yeah,
because he comes charging after him. He threw him.
Like Don Zimmer or something.
It was Don Zimmer. To me, that's the greatest thing. People are like, how could he do that? He was defending himself. You see an old white guy running at you. They got that old guy strength. I don't trust that.
Yeah. Rubber match today. Pirates play game 3 of 3. I'm sorry, today at 4:10 early game. Starting pitchers are going to be Johan Oviedo, is coming with a 3-11 record, 4.77 ERA, 101 strikeouts on the season. He's going to be facing right-handed pitcher Seth Lugo, who's 4-4 with a 3.72 and 71 Ks on the season. We
I
wrap.
just learned real quick. P lived in Bahrain.
Really?
Yeah, that's where he learned cricket. He
Oh
forgot the rules
yeah.
within a week. That was a gentle toss that he threw him down with.
Yeah.
You don't play
Um, Pirates finish up this series today with the Padres, which I thought was a good opportunity for them to gain some ground.
Yeah,
Yet they
and
lose, yet they get 3 hits, yet their star goes over 4. Yet one of their only 3 hits was Austin Hedges. It's not looking good. They come home and play Philadelphia tomorrow. I'm sorry, on Friday. Day off tomorrow. Phillies over the weekend. Go get your David Bednar renegade bobblehead because he may be gone by the beginning of next week. So
I would actually love that. I wouldn't get it and then see him traded.
as we said yesterday, that is one of the most Pittsburgh Pirate things that I've ever heard in my life. But you know
You
what?
know,
It's
it's
it
gonna
holds true.
happen.
These kind of things happen almost every year with the Pirates.
I saw an interesting tweet. People are like, "Oh, everyone loves Bednar because he's from here,"
Yeah,
but they're like, we've had like 9 damn good closers in 13 years, and we've traded all of them.
I know.
We only cares because he's from here. If he wasn't
Yeah.
from here, we would probably be like, "Yeah, trade him. Let's get something for the
Well,
future."
the season is young, Mike. Give it another week. We'll see. I think he might be gone. Let's stop talking about Bay. It's depressing me, man. Here we are, hump day. I'm depressed. Today at 7 p.m., go check out the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They play the Indy 11. Indy 11 versus the Pittsburgh Riverhounds today, 7 o'clock. If you're following this soccer team from Pittsburgh,
I love soccer names. Indy 11.
Indy 11. They're bouncing back. They finally lost a game since first game since April last week, and they're bouncing back against Indy 11 today. So check that out, 7 o'clock p.m. I don't know if you guys caught this. Anybody seeing this? Anybody seeing this college basketball alum tournament going on? It's called the TBT tournament, and it's basically like the Pitt alum team is called the Zoo Crew.
Oh, okay. I saw something like that.
The team that we played last night was from Marshall. They were called the Herd. It's a bunch of guys from alum from these schools, and DeJuan Blair is the coach of the Pitt team. Got a bunch of the older guys on the team. Pitt took the L last night. I don't recall this. 86-71. I'm sorry. It was 86-71. So they don't advance. But this is really cool because it was put together and the winning team gets $1 million to split between everybody, which isn't much, but you know what? It's just kind of thrown together out of nowhere. I guess the coach gets $88,000. Each player gets X amount of dollars, so on and so on. But if you're interested in this, it's really cool. As I said, it's college. It's alum with college teams, and they create these names based on things from their school. Again, we were the Pitt Zoo Crew, and Marshall was the Herd. I think they have like Boeheim's Army, which would be Syracuse, so on and so forth. But it's really cool. Really cool. I was digging it. You could catch that on ESPN Plus.
ESPN 8, the Ocho.
Before I move on to football, Pitt yesterday was ranked the best ACC athletic department, not Clemson, not Duke, not North Carolina. The Pitt Panthers, I'm proud of this. I'm proud of this college, what they're doing with their sports. They were ranked yesterday as the best ACC athletic department. So good for them.
Yeah, good for them. Heather Lake, she's turning that whole program around.
This lady ain't playing. Let's talk a little bit of football. I got a couple things here, guys. First thing I want to talk about today. Derpy, are you alive?
Derpy.
I honestly think he gets up and runs away and does other things. Derpy, are you there?
Alive. Yes, I am alive.
Derpy, I got a question for you.
Shoot.
Week 1, which the week 1 first game of the season for the Pittsburgh Steelers against the 49ers, which is only 46 days away. Now there's a possibility that Brock Purdy plays this game. He came off his big surgery. He's named possible. So their 3 quarterbacks are these: Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, and Sam Darnold. Let me ask you guys, who would you rather face in that opening game of the season? Would you rather face this Brock Purdy coming off an injury, who's a rookie that might have, had a little bit more luck than most rookies do? Trey Lance, who fell short so far to this point, trying to, I think he faced an injury, something like this, so he never really got to fall into that role that he was expected to take. And Sam Darnold, who, he's a fair quarterback. Nothing great, but he's a little bit better than I thought he was going to be. Who would you guys prefer to face week 1 in Pittsburgh, 46 days from now? Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, or Sam Darnold as a Steeler fan?
Let me hear it, Derpy. Let me hear it.
I'd say Purdy.
You would like to see Brock Purdy?
Yeah. Just because of the things that have been said recently.
Yeah, you just don't know. You don't know what you're going to get with him. I mean, he could come out off this injury and play nothing like he did. You don't know. Mike, who would you like to face in week 1? Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, or Sam Darnold 46 days from now?
I would rather face Trey Lance. Now I'm going through these guys, career stats, and he has 5 touchdowns, 3 picks. Last year, he only played, he had 0 touchdowns, 1 pick, 194 yards before he got hurt. Sam Darnold last year was doing pretty well. He had positive touchdown to interception ratio. And Brock Purdy, he lit the league on fire. He had 3 touchdowns in the playoffs before he got hurt. He was really good down the stretch for them. I would rather face Trey Lance.
Trey Lance.
I'd rather face Trey Lance because he's, out of the 3, he's the most unproven.
You know what? The one that I don't want to see, and I'm going to agree with both you guys. I don't want to see Sam Darnold. There's just something about him. As I said, he's not great. He's not even really, but there's just something about him. I think he's a quarterback that could step in and beat us. I would rather play either Brock Purdy or Trey Lance for the reasons that you guys mentioned. I mean, it's, not much else hidden here. I would like to play one of them too. And you know what? I think there's going to be a good chance of those 3. You wouldn't think that Sam Darnold would be the starter, would you?
God, no. If he's starting, that means Purdy, he might have an injury setback. For him coming back this quick, this fast, I would be worried as a 49er and as a 49er fan, because that injury.
They would have a field day if he started.
He was supposed to be out for a long time with that. He's back really early for the type of injury that he had. So, but if he is 100% healthy, that's a good sign. But if Trey Lance, if Sam Darnold's your starter, there's going to be something wrong because Trey Lance, they gave up all those draft picks to get him. Purdy's the guy who came in out of nowhere last year and played really well.
You gotta think also that Brock Purdy, since the end of last season till now, to July 26th, hasn't done anything physically to improve his game because he's been dealing with this injury and the surgery and recovery and
rehab.
So I mean, you got to put that into consideration, especially with only 46 days left. I mean, that's not much time to really get yourself. I don't know, between one of them 2 guys. At this point, I don't care. I think that it's a pretty much a draw for, again, the reasons that both you guys said. But there you have it, guys. Also, one quick thing before I go into this next part. You guys remember back in 2020, I just came across this on social media. Remember the big welcome back Ben sign that they had in Baltimore where Ben was laying on the ground? Since that billboard went up, the Ravens are only 1-5 against the Steelers and went 0-4 and went 0-4 in the last 4 games against Ben Roethlisberger.
That's why you don't do stuff like that. It has a chance to come back and bite you in the ass. It's funny.
1-5 in the last 6 meetings. Great, I mean, but then in the one that they won was 16-14 last season in a game that could have really won either way.
Yeah,
1-5 against the Steelers in the last 6 since that billboard went up. I thought that was entertaining. I wanted to share that with you.
Yeah.
Finally, Mike Derpy, I want to talk about defensive rookie of the year possibilities. I'm going to give you some names that came up on a list that I saw. I want you to tell me if you agree, disagree, Maybe you could come up with some people that it's not even mentioned, but these are the names that came up on most lists of people that are talking about defensive rookie of the year players, which of course we just signed Joey Porter Jr. yesterday. So this ties in. Here we go. Will Anderson Jr. in Houston, Will Anderson Jr., Jack Campbell in Detroit, Jalen Carter in Philadelphia, Devin Witherspoon, Seattle, Emmanuel Forbes, Washington, Christian Gonzalez, New England, Brian Branch, Detroit, Kalijah Cansey, Tampa Bay, Tyree Wilson, Las Vegas, Will McDonald IV, the Jets, Joey Porter Jr., Pittsburgh Steelers. Any of these guys to you sound like they're going to be dynamic enough, do you think,
partner,
to win the defensive player of the year? Or is there maybe somebody that's in your mind that you think that has it in the bag that I didn't mention? Mike?
Man, Will Anderson Jr., because he was so good, coming out of college. He's up there. Same thing with Witherspoon.
Houston.
He's on Houston. God, Witherspoon out of Illinois.
I think it's going to be Carter.
Carter is a good choice, but
Carter's just a freak of nature. I wouldn't be surprised.
He's a freak of nature, but that defense is still stacked. Yeah, they lost people, but they had guys that they drafted last year getting in place for this year. Jalen Carter fell into their lap. So if he can break into that rotation, I can see him being a disruptive force and just, being the guy. But man, it's good. There's a lot of good players. We just go right now. If he's the shutdown corner, we think he's going to be kind of like the way Sauce Gardner
was. Hold on, who was it? It kind of glitched for just 1 second. Just when you said a name,
Witherspoon.
Okay, Witherspoon out of Seattle.
He's going to be my guy. If he comes in and dominates and shuts down the receivers the way Sauce Gardner did last year, I can see him walking away with it.
Derby, let me give you. I'll just run down the names real quick again for you. Will Anderson Jr., Jack Campbell, Jalen Carter, Devin Witherspoon, Emmanuel Forbes, Christian Gonzalez, Brian Branch, Kalijah Cansey, Tyree Wilson, Will McDonald, the fourth of the Jets, and Joey Porter Jr. These are the names that are atop every possible defensive player of the year list. Anybody from this list sound like they might have it in a bag to you, Derpy? Do you think maybe Mike, Sky, or is there anybody maybe that's not on this list? You like Jalen Carter, huh?
Yeah, just because of the philosophy of the Eagles and their defense.
Yeah, maybe their defense is so good, that gives him the opportunity to do the other things that some of these other guys that can't, because they're building a defense around them, opposed to, Carter just being this extra toy that they could play with because they have a lot of good things going on defense. Perhaps that's going to be the situation, and it's going to give him the chance to really, go off. Mike,
dark horse out of this group is going to be Brian Branch to me might be the dark horse out of this.
I can agree with that.
He safety slot corner up there in Detroit, coming out of Alabama. He's that guy that can be all over the field and have more chances to be, not just in the back defensive backfield being a center fielder picking off, but also down in the box making some key plays. I think he's a dark horse out of these ones listed.
You got to really and I say this over and over, and it might even start being annoying, but you know what? These Detroit Lions is one team that I am excited to watch this year. They were coming along the past couple seasons. They kind of had a setback season, maybe I forget what it was, 2 years ago. They just missed the playoffs last year by a game. They come back this year with, they had a nice draft. It's really going to be exciting to watch the Detroit Lions, because it seems some things like this seem to snowball. The team gets better. Perhaps this team gets in the playoffs because of this. You look at that and you say, "Wow, look at what it was. It was the defense." So let's look at their players: Brian Branch, Jack Campbell, and things start to snowball for teams. And maybe Brian Branch wins the defensive player of the year. And I tell you what, if you like the Lions, you don't like the Lions, which most people I don't think even care one way or the other. I think they're going to be a really, really fun team to watch this year, especially in that NFC North Division.
And my God, with the Vikings losing Delvin Cook, Aaron Rodgers is no longer there. It can be a wide open division this year.
Absolutely. You got Chicago being Chicago. They're going to be Chicago. And I mean, there's never been anything outside of 1985 that ever provided any proof that this team is going to be any team different than they are every other year. So I count Chicago out. If they prove me wrong, they prove me wrong. But I like my odds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that line, just like last year.
You know what? You glitch every time you say something important. What was that last?
I said I am the Lions bandwagon early this year, like I was last year.
You know what? I am too. Of course,
they're the dark horse team until they finally do something. 10 years from now, I'm going to say, look out for this Lions team.
Yeah, I would like to see the Lions team take that step.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they will, though,
because they literally have done nothing in my life. They've done nothing. I mean, they in the early 90s, I can remember watching Barry Sanders. He was special. A time later, you get Megatron.
Yeah.
They get these sparks, but this team really hasn't done anything in my life. So to see that team take that, and even if if they fall into one of them teams that have a window like the Seattle Seahawks did, they had that 3 or 4 years where, okay, they were good enough. They got into the Super Bowl. They won it. Then they lost it. And then they, just kind of lingered. Then they're out. I wouldn't mind to see the Detroit Lions be that team for once. I mean, you see these teams pop up every 10 years or so. Why not the Lions? Why not Detroit?
And they're due, man. They are long overdue to have a nice deep run.
And they've been around forever,
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad for teams like this. Mike, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website, man?
Dumyinzers.com. Head on over there for everything to Dum Yinzers. We have links for, my God, everything. Email over there for comments, questions, all that fun stuff. Merchandise store where you can buy your Bob Nothing merch. Big shout out and thank you to whoever mentioned Bob Nothing on the radio the other day. Appreciate it.
There you go, everybody. Today is the last day of San Diego Padre trivia for the season. I know you guys love San Diego Padre trivia, but today's the last day. P on the board, you ready? Derpy, Mike?
Oh, I'm ready for Padres trivia.
Here we go. In 1999, this Padre became the only Padre to hit 50 home runs in a single season. In 1999, this Padre became the only Padre to hit 50 home runs in a single season. I'm going to step away for just a moment. You think about it, but if you want me to give you the choices when I come back, I will do so. We are live every day, 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, right here. You can check us out 11:30 every day. And if maybe the podcast is your thing and, looking at these beautiful faces isn't, you could always check out the podcast. It gets uploaded every day. The new show uploaded every day over on Spotify. Put your earbuds in, go to the gym, hit the car, whatever you want to do. And you could always listen to the podcast brand new every day, 8 o'clock Spotify. All right, guys, the question of the day is this. In 1999, this Padre became the only Padre to hit 50 home runs in a single season. You guys want choices?
Yeah, I need choices here.
Derpy choices?
Yeah.
All right, so your choices are for the only Padre to hit 50 home runs in a season. Was it A, Adrian Gonzalez? B, Phil Nevin? C, Ken Caminetti? Or D, Greg Vaughn?
Like P says, if it's not Tony Gwynn, I don't know, but I'm gonna guess.
You know what? That was
Greg
his answer
Vaughn.
the other day too. I recall.
It is too, and it's the right answer all the time. I'm
Wait,
sorry,
that's
it's
true.
the right answer.
I'm going to go Greg Vaughn.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Greg Vaughn.
Guys are both going Greg Vaughn. Let me repeat one more time just to make sure we're all on the same page here. In 1999, this Padre became the only Padre to hit 50 home runs in a single season. The choices are Adrian Gonzalez, Phil Nevin, Ken Caminetti, and Greg Vaughn. Both of the guys said Greg Vaughn. You guys want me to lock you in on that?
Lock it in.
All right.
Lock it in.
I'll give P a moment on the board since we did give choices. P, it's Adrian Gonzalez, Phil Nevin, Ken Caminetti, Greg Vaughn. Both of the gentlemen on the show said Greg Vaughn. I'll give him just a moment. We don't see the Padres enough. I wish this was a team that was in our division. They're always usually easy pickings for us. The game that we lost yesterday was the first loss against the Padres this season, I do believe. But
I'm just waiting to see who's going to get plunked tonight.
Yeah,
I can't
being
wait.
it's the last game against them too, you might see action. You know that.
Oh yeah. I want to see. Whoever gets plunked, I just want to see them charge the mound with the bat.
I do too. I love the yes.
Like you should. You're going to throw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball at my head with the intentions of hurting me. I get one free swing.
P says Ken Caminetti. So here we go. I'm going to lock P in on Caminetti. All right, everybody. Here we go. Last Padres trivia question of the year. In 1999, this Padre became the only Padre to hit 50 home runs in a single season. Was it Adrian Gonzalez, Phil Nevin, Ken Caminetti, Greg Vaughn? Derpy and Mike says Greg Vaughn. P says Ken Caminetti. The answer, guys, is Greg Vaughn.
Ooh, lucky
Greg
guess.
Vaughn. Yes, I didn't know this.
Neither did I. I guessed. I remember him. So outside of Tony Gwynn, he's one of the few Padres I remember.
And as you know, and you say the names, you're like, okay, well, I remember Ken Caminetti. I mean, okay, he was a Padre, whatever. Phil Nevin, I remember this name. I remember these names, but San Diego's they're not a real memorable team.
No, they're not.
Oh, boy. Mike, you got anything before we take off for today?
Oh, football season has arrived. Let's go.
46 days to the season, 16 games to preseason, 16 days to preseason. Mike, 16 days, 2 weeks and 2 days. We'll be watching the Steelers play Tampa Bay. I can't believe it.
That's crazy. That's fast. That is fast.
The guys show up at camp today, get things started. We got 2 weeks, guys, and we got a game. So, Derpy, before we take off, my man, what you got? Derpy's classic words.
Stairway to 7.
Stairway to 7. I have one important thing I do want to say before we leave. This is important. I came across this number yesterday, and I really want you to think about this. Don't sell me short. Give me your attention for the last 3 minutes of the show. 104,000. 104,000. Think of what that is. Think of, I know that right off the top of my head, I know that you hate this team, but just because I seen it as an example, Michigan Wolverine Stadium holds 100,000 people. Okay. Mm-hmm. Think of that stadium full, add 4,000 people to it. That is the number of kids from the United States of America that are estimated to have been kidnapped and put into human trafficking last year. Think of that, guys. 104,000. It was 300,000 was the amount of kids that got kidnapped last year that went missing. 300,000 kids went missing. 104,000 of those are estimated to be the amount of children that went into human trafficking last year. So, I don't know. Wow. Just really something to think about. Think of how many people fill Michigan Stadium. Think of those all being kids in this country.
It's the biggest stadium in college football.
Think of that stadium being filled with young kids. And then that whole entire stadium full of kids being took and put into human trafficking. I know we hear about it. I know it's a bad thing. I know people know, but think about that number. It's a real bad thing, guys. So one child would be bad enough. Imagine if it was your child.
Yeah.
I just saw P's comment, and I hate to laugh at where we are in the show, but Caminetti sounds like a 50 bag.
1/10.
I switched the screen at the wrong
1/10 of a million.
Oh man.
So again, I hate to leave you on on this note, but I seen this, it kind of stuck in me, and I want to bring it out because we do have the medium to do so. 104,000 kids into human trafficking last year. So on that note, everybody, we do want to thank everybody for checking us out. We appreciate each and every one of you. For Derpy, Mike, myself, the two Dum Yinzers, everybody have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.